National Electrical Code, commonly referred to as the NEC, does not mandate a specific orientation for the installation of electrical receptacles. This means that the code itself does not explicitly state whether the ground pin, which is the third round hole on a standard electrical outlet, should be positioned at the top, referred to as ground up, or at the bottom, known as ground down. The decision regarding receptacle orientation is therefore left to other factors such as local building codes, customer preferences, or specific job requirements. It's important to note that while the NEC provides a comprehensive set of standards for safe electrical installations, it does not cover every minute detail of the installation process. This is because the NEC is designed to be a broad set of guidelines that can be applied to a wide range of electrical systems and installations, and it would be impractical to try to regulate every single aspect of every installation. In the absence of specific guidance from the NEC, electrical contractors and installers must rely on their professional judgment and expertise to make decisions about how to best install electrical equipment in a safe and effective manner. This includes considering factors such as the intended use of the equipment, the location of the equipment, and the overall design of the electrical system. While the NEC does not specify receptacle orientation, there are some practical considerations that may influence the decision of whether to install receptacles ground up or ground down. Firstly, accessibility for users with mobility limitations might be a concern. Secondly, from a safety perspective, some argue that ground down is preferable because if a partially unplugged cord droops, any exposed conductors are less likely to contact the grounded faceplate screw. Thirdly, aesthetic considerations can also play a role, as some people simply prefer one orientation over the other. It is also worth noting that some local jurisdictions may have their own regulations or guidelines regarding receptacle orientation. These local codes may be more specific than the NEC and may mandate a particular orientation for receptacles in certain types of buildings or installations. Therefore, it is always important to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to determine if there are any specific requirements in your area. In addition to local codes, there may also be industry standards or best practices that recommend a particular receptacle orientation. For example, some manufacturers of electrical equipment may recommend a specific orientation for their products in order to ensure optimal performance or safety. It is also important to consider the type of receptacle being installed. For example, ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles, commonly referred to as GFCIs, are often installed in areas where there is a high risk of electrical shock, such as bathrooms and kitchens. GFCIs are designed to protect people from electrical shock by quickly interrupting the flow of electricity if a ground fault is detected. The NEC does have specific requirements for the installation of GFCIs, including requirements for their location and wiring. However, the NEC does not specify the orientation of GFCIs. When installing receptacles, it is also important to ensure that they are properly grounded. Grounding is a critical safety feature that helps to protect people from electrical shock by providing a path for stray electricity to flow back to the electrical source. The NEC has detailed requirements for grounding electrical systems, including requirements for the size and type of grounding conductors, as well as requirements for the connection of grounding conductors to electrical equipment. In addition to grounding, it is also important to ensure that receptacles are properly wired. This includes ensuring that the hot, neutral, and ground wires are connected to the correct terminals on the receptacle. The NEC has specific requirements for wiring receptacles, including requirements for the size and type of conductors, as well as requirements for the color coding of conductors. When working with electricity, it is always important to take precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as rubber gloves and safety glasses, as well as using insulated tools. It is also important to turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical equipment. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical shock. In summary, the National Electrical Code does not dictate whether electrical receptacles should be installed with the ground pin up or down. This decision is typically based on local codes, preferences, or job specifications. Always consult local regulations and consider safety and aesthetic factors when making this decision. Proper grounding and wiring are essential for safety.